Hello, I'm Jarek, and I love using my Brompton bike to travel across the world in search of interesting trees. Because, well, I'm an arborist. For me, it's the perfect combination: mobility, simplicity, and the freedom to reach places where trees tell their own stories. One of my friends recently asked me to walk him through the modifications I've made to my bike over time. So, here they are. Let's start with the most obvious one: the rear rack. If you're getting a new Brompton, I'd strongly recommend buying it with the rack included. Not only do I use it all the time to strap things onto the bike, bags, gear, sometimes even awkward items, but it also works brilliantly as a rolling platform. Whenever I need to use the bike like a shopping trolley or just move it over short distances without riding, the rack makes a huge difference. It turns the bike into something much more versatile than just a means of transport. Another standard piece of equipment is the small pump. You attach it once under the frame and then you basically forget about it. It just sits there quietly doing nothing, until the moment you really need it. And when that moment comes, you'll be very glad it's there. I also decided to add a standard kickstand. Brompton has its own clever system for parking the bike by partially folding the rear triangle, and it works well in many situations. But I found that in a number of everyday scenarios, when I just need to quickly set the bike down without thinking too much, the kickstand is simply more convenient. It's not the most stable solution in the world, that's true, but with a bit of attention, it does its job reliably. A great additional safety feature is a red blinking light mounted under the saddle. Brompton does come with a light integrated into the rear rack, but it sits quite low to the ground and isn't always as visible as you'd like, especially in traffic. This small blinking light solves that problem nicely. I picked it up on Temu and honestly it works surprisingly well. What I really appreciate is that it uses a USB-C connector. Simple, modern, and compatible with everything else I carry. On the wheels, I've also added reflective sticks, just in case. It's one of those small details you hopefully never need, but when visibility drops, every bit helps. Another upgrade I made is a small strap that allows for quick release of the front bag from the carrier block. Yes, you can remove the bag manually, but it's a bit fiddly and annoying if you do it often. This simple addition makes the whole process much smoother and faster. Speaking of the front carrier, besides the dedicated Brompton bag with a large platform, I also use a separate small platform. That gives me the flexibility to attach pretty much any backpack, especially those designed to slide onto a carry-on suitcase at the airport. It's a small trick, but it makes traveling much more seamless. This is my favorite front bag. I chose luggage from Vincita because it strikes a really nice balance between functionality and design. They just look good and work well. That said, I did manage to partially tear off one of the front buckles. But to be fair, that's probably on me. I tend to overload it a bit more than I should. In addition to that, I also have a bag for the rear rack. I don't use it as often, but when I travel, I can easily pack everything I need for up to a week using just these two bags. It's quite impressive how much you can carry on such a compact bike. interesting safety accessory I use is a foldable helmet. When you're traveling, space matters, and this one packs down nicely without taking up much room. Luckily, I haven't had to test it in a real crash, and I'd prefer to keep it that way, but I trust it to do its job. For navigation, I rely on my phone, and I absolutely love the ecosystem from Peak Design. I use both their phone case and the handlebar mount. The installation is quick, secure, and very intuitive. On top of that, you can attach an action camera to the back. I sometimes use a 360-degree camera from Insta. It's a bit on the heavy side and occasionally tilts while riding, but honestly, that's not a big issue. Because with 360-degree footage, you can always find the right angle afterward. The front light from Brompton is solid. It shines well and the battery lasts a long time. The only thing that really annoys me is the USB mini connector. Come on, it's 2026. USB-C is the standard. Time to catch up. A small handlebar pouch is, in my opinion, absolutely essential. I keep my lock, a power bank, and a charging cable for my phone in there. And trust me, with navigation running, your phone will not last all day. This setup is basically mandatory if you're relying on your phone for longer rides. If you decide to go for an electric conversion, which we'll talk about later, it usually comes with a USB-C port for charging. In that case, you can leave the power bank at home, which is one less thing to carry. And now for a slightly controversial part, the electrification of a Brompton bike. I decided not to go for the official electric Brompton. The main reason was that I would lose the front luggage carrier, which for me is absolutely essential. On top of that, the original battery isn't airline friendly, which is a deal breaker if you travel as much as I do. Instead, I went for a conversion kit from a company called Switch. From a user and functionality perspective, it's actually quite great. The ride feels natural and the assistance really helps, especially when climbing hills or riding longer distances. But, and this is important, I can't honestly recommend buying it. I placed and paid for my order in January 2025, with a promised delivery time of up to 6 months. After countless follow-ups and frankly frustrating communication with AI support agents, I finally received the kit in April 2026. That's well over a year later. So while the product itself works well, the overall experience was far from ideal. If another company comes along and offers a similar conversion kit with solid execution, not just great marketing, and can actually deliver it on time, that would be a fantastic upgrade for a Brompton. Because where it works, it really works. Alongside the main battery, I also bought a smaller one. Its capacity meets airline regulations, so I can take it on flights without any issues. That gives me at least some level of electric assistance even when I'm traveling internationally. A pretty standard accessory, but one you definitely shouldn't overlook, is a basic toolkit stored inside the frame. It doesn't take up space, and sooner or later you'll be glad you have it. One small detail I absolutely love: rubber covers for the brake levers. They cost next to nothing, but in cold weather the difference is huge. Touching bare metal with your fingers when temperatures drop is just unpleasant. These simple covers fix that instantly. It's one of those tiny upgrades that makes winter riding much more comfortable. I also decided to swap out the original grips for flat ergonomic ones with a side support. You don't have to ride for hours to notice the difference. The hand position feels more natural, pressure is better distributed, and overall comfort is on a completely different level. It's a simple change, but once you try it, it's hard to go back. And finally, the last piece of gear, a transport bag. Once again, I chose a bag from Vincita. It's relatively compact, and in case of emergency, you can even carry it on the bike itself. It's reasonably padded, not rigid of course, but good enough for most situations. The bike fits inside perfectly, and if I line the bag with packing cubes filled with clothes, it provides surprisingly solid protection even for air travel. At the airport, you can remove the small wheels, and the bag will fit within standard luggage dimensions for most flights. There is no need to announce that you're carrying a bike. It's just luggage. Simple as that. The only real challenge is the weight limit. My bike, after electrification, weighs about 20 kilograms. Add the bag and a few essentials, and I'm just barely under the typical 23 kilogram check-in limit. So yes, it's tight, but it works. Happy travels in search of trees, fellow arborists.